I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Tina, go ahead.
Okay, well, the first thing that I have is that pertains to the agenda. Brandy is not well today, or she has a child that's not well, so she will not be in at 10:30. And Brad is unwell today, so he will not be here at 11:15. So those two agenda items will need to be taken off.
Okay. Are there any other additions?
Does anybody care for a road tour down to for the last thing we might do today, to go down to the transfer station? Or has everybody taken a look at it lately?
I guess I would be open to it.
I'm just.
Depends on the time.
Okay. Yeah, it depends on time, whether we'd have time or not.
It appears we may have some time.
Yeah, just to catch the two commissioners up where we've been, the two new ones, where we think we're going, if we do go. And then I'm still receiving some complaints on just trash around the buildings and things like that. I don't know. I have not looked in the last week or so. Can't tell you. So we'd like to meet down there after we take a quick 5 or so. That's up if we have time.
Is that okay with the rest of the commission?
Yeah.
Try to work that in after we adjourn.
Well, it
would be a special meeting.
part of your
You'd have-
meeting.
Part
You
of the
could just
meeting. Part
adjourn
of
from
the
over
meeting.
there.
Yeah.
Adjourn from over there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I have the minutes of December 31st.
Okay. Any additions or corrections to December 31st?
So I don't have any additions or corrections, but one of the things on the minutes I was going to question Brad about, since he's not gonna be here again. So I don't know, but I did some inquiries on the situation to when you abstain, that automatically goes to a majority vote. I question that. And so I did seek other advice from other attorneys, but I want to talk to Brad about it. So I don't know, you could go ahead and approve them, just realizing that going forward, I'm gonna question that.
That is the language that, when I asked Brad how I should be recording those abstentions, that's the language he provided for me, so, yeah, by all means, feel free to ask him.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit up for debate, so I will, because of course you could ask 10 attorneys, you get 10 different answers. But I do have some very interesting opposing answers. So you know your abstention is a yes vote.
Because the
majority won yes.
Because the majority voted yes.
So I don't know, but like I say, that's the only thing that I was questioning on this, but like I say, we might as well just approve it as it is for the past. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve it, just knowing that the commission knows that going forward, I'm gonna question
All right.
it.
Are you making a motion to approve
I
that?
am.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Diane, seconded by Randy. Approve the December 31st minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote.
I have change orders.
we changing chairs today, or Chairman?
When do we reorganize the board? Is that next
The
week?
board is reorganized the second Monday in January, so next week.
Oh, I can see.
Did you want this to be passed out or read?
I gave that to everyone.
Okay.
Must have just stuck right to the other one.
Oh, that, oh, this stuff.
That's it? Yeah, that's where we.
My fingers get tired.
In your packet, you do have the documentation that the Diamond Vista Project did extend their security at the bank, so that was provided. So that's there for your reference. The cumulative monthly comp time report, Randy, you were asking about that on payday. I believe it was in the folder, but it's in your packet in case you,
Okay.
that's where we stand at the end of the year.
Okay,
Okay?
total of everything, right?
Just comp time, yes. And in your,
Yeah. That's why I want to see it.
and sometimes you may have to encourage some people to start using that time off and also maybe reinforce the policy that, you know, in the past, we've had some department heads that have liked to try to work with their employees and allow them to earn comp time to take off later. But that's not really an appropriate thing to do unless there's actual reason for, you know, for it, which we remind people every once in a while about that. They can't just come in and work to get time off.
Well, it sits there as a liability on your books.
Right.
Does it expire?
We haven't expired it. We do have a statement in our policy that they need to try to use it. They're supposed to try to use it within, I think it's 90 days. I'd have to look at that again.
It's not short.
But it's not typically enforced,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Well, most of the time you can understand, like road and bridge, if it's winter or something like that, or, you know, you can understand some of that. I don't know, we haven't got into winter yet, why we're up there so high already, unless we carry quite a bit, but. and
Well,
some
we
of the-
started off at the beginning of the month with 1,539.
Yeah,
And then, you know, they used more than they earned.
yeah. But, why was we up there, just for summer work? I mean, that's, you know, that's what I'm getting at, whether it was for summer work, or whether you got a short department head or something,
Yeah.
you know, in people or something.
Got a lot of fun.
Well, and also, one thing to keep in mind is they still carry a pager. There's a few guys that carry a
Yes.
pager over the weekend and they get comp time
Yeah.
for carrying the pager, even whether or not they get called.
Right.
It's probably another area that probably needs to be looked at sometime, whether we want to stay on comp time or do it overtime.
Well, that's what the pay will do, pay plan deal, I think that's.
Yeah, that
probably
would be
should
part of it.
Looked at it.
Okay. Effective today, there's a change in how the drug testing queries are done. And so this is a federal rule, and all CDL drivers are supposed to register with the clearinghouse. And so there are going to be some changes with our drug testing program. We have worked with all of our CDL drivers to help them get enrolled in that, and so that's their own account they can go in and look at, and if they have any kind of results or things would be posted there. And we as an employer don't have access to it, but anytime we hire a new CDL driver, we're supposed to query that clearinghouse to see if there are any violations or anything like that out there. So we will be having some changes. We do have a third-party administrator that handles our drug testing program. And since we're going to be having some changes, I know it has come up before. Right now, we just have road and bridge and like transfer station. Those equipment operators are the only ones that are tested. And there are other safety-sensitive positions that drive vehicles for the county. And in the past, I've been asked by the commission about expanding that program. For instance, for EMS and or sheriffs, you know, those folks that drive vehicles regularly. And so, since we're changing our program a little bit anyway, I went ahead and asked for just a quote on what it would be if we added approximately 30 people. I don't believe we would probably want to include the volunteer EMS, just because they're so sporadic on how, when they're working. But if we did part-time and full-time, and for instance, potentially the sheriff's office, there is a $3.75 per person administrative charge per month to have them in the pool and to maintain that and to handle the program. And so that part of it, if we add 30 people, would be approximately $113 additional monthly cost. But the bigger part of the cost would be every person to come onto that program has to have, even if they're already employed, they have to have a pre-employment test, which is a baseline test to put them on. And that is $70 per person. And so 30 people, that's $2,100 one-time cost. So if that is still something that you're thinking about doing as we go into training and go into the new way that we're going to be doing things, there's that information if you decide to make a change. I'm not suggesting one way or the other. I'm just providing.
Are those just general fund expenditures?
Generally, those have been coming out of the departments. So the road bridge pays theirs and transfer station pays theirs. So.
This is the second round of this morning. I just heard another round where our CDL drivers was to go on and check this. You go on and check, see whether you get tickets, whether you get all your backgrounds on there. It's going to be
that's the clearinghouse.
Clearinghouse type deal. Okay.
Yep.
So, okay.
We met with, I think we have them all done. I don't know, we may have one or two that haven't come in yet, but we helped them to go through that process so that they'd be in compliance.
And you're teaching them how to get on and look at that. Okay.
Yeah, we show them how to get on. They have their own username and password, and they can see their dashboard.
Good.
Yeah. I'm not saying everyone understands it very well. Just
there was a lot of confusion this morning up there too. We've got a few other tests with our CDLs. Yeah. They said, was it going to take those? No, this is just, the way I understood it, the state deal, or federal deal.
Yes, federal. Yeah.
Are there multiple companies that do this across the state? Or
there is one clearinghouse that everyone is supposed to register with, but there are multiple third-party administrators for drug testing programs. And so whether the county does our own queries or whether we utilize our TPA to do the queries for us, you know, that's just a matter of.
I was just wondering when this all started.
It's been coming for a couple years apparently, and but it's in effect as of today. It took over today. January 6th was the deadline.
I've never asked this question, but I wonder, Well, we go to a local hospital to do our drug test. I mean, whenever, well, we go to Harrington for the gas company. I don't know what our drivers here do, where they go to. I'm wondering if the money we're spending could be to a local, either hospitals, one way or the other, to take care, whether they could take care of our drug program.
The way that we're doing it right now, they do go over to St. Luke for their pre-employment, and that's where the majority of our testing is done. Like if there's an accident, we require post-accident drug testing, so they go over there. It's all handled through a third-party administrator, so we don't actually have to administer all of that, and they take care of paying the hospitals directly. We don't pay them directly, so.
But I'm coming from the perspective whether one of our local facilities could handle everything through the program. I don't know that.
I don't know that they would administer a program like that. I mean,
But you
they
still-
could certainly do the testing, and they are doing the
You
testing.
still use the clearinghouse then to check on violations? and
Yeah,
that sort
that's
of
the
thing?
idea, and that's where it's supposed to, that starts today, so.
It's a national
Mhm. Yeah.
register.
Yes.
Okay.
I did just do a little draft statement, which I was hoping to have Brad review for me on the bus, and I put that at each one of your places. I kind of wanted to see if that was what you had in mind.
Sounds good to me. See if we can raise it.
Yeah, if Brad approves that, I think it touches all the bases.
Send out any emails to any cities, is that what we're gonna do?
I can put that in the paper, I can send it to all the city clerks, and administrators, because I have an email blast that I send to them every so often, just to keep communication. We can post it on our website.
I guess make it public to put it in the paper for what, 2 times?
We consider that a legal type posting.
We'd probably just do it as an ad. Does anybody have any objections to it? or-
No, as long as we're,
I will get Brad to review it and give you advice on it. And hopefully he'll be able to do that. Okay. You did receive one at-large application that came by email yesterday for planning and zoning, so that is before you. I believe their first meeting is not until January 23rd, and you haven't told me a deadline as far as whether you want to keep the application period open through the 13th, through the 20th. I'm not sure what you want to do, so.
I guess we.
what's the commission's?
I mean, I'm sort of waiting on to see what Brad had to say, to see whether there's any deadlines we have to set or nothing, anything like that.
Yeah, we need some guidance.
Okay. So anyway, that's before you. If we get any others, I'll be sure and provide those to you as
Do
well.
we want to act on them as we get them, or?
Well, if you get other applications for at-large, I mean, you may want to wait
Right.
a
We
week
need to
or.
know, I guess, can we kind of need to know if there's a deadline for those kind of things, or
Well,
what
I
the
think
deadline
that
will
you-
be?
We'll wait till the 1st of February, then pick that
Well,
one.
Well, they reorganize in January, and so if you wait until after that, which I think is the 23rd, if I remember what Sharon said, then you're gonna be short on your board, and you're probably gonna be short anyway, because there are some individual appointments that need to be made, so I don't know if you'd wanna wait all the way till February, but it just kinda depends on the structure and how many vacancies they have, because you wouldn't wanna put them to where they couldn't have a
They do
quorum.
need to have a quorum when they meet.
Yeah. It's- I think it needs to be waited for a deadline, just in case there's others.
Yeah,
But we can't let it go too long.
No, I don't
Like
think
she
so
said,
either.
they
I
gotta
think
read-
you'd have to do the 13th or the 20th,
no later than the 20th then.
or received by I don't have the calendar in here, but the Friday before the 20th, and then you could look at them have time on your agenda on the 20th?
Would that be the 17th?
Probably.
Would be the 17th.
17th, yeah.
So we could publicize the 17th as a deadline to submit applications for this
Good.
upcoming term, if the board is okay with that.
Anybody have any objections to the 17th being a deadline for at-large? Okay.
It's gotta be said. I mean,
I think that's probably pushing it back just about as far as you can if you're
Yeah.
gonna have a board in place.
When's the meeting, the 28th?
23rd, I thought she said. Is that a Thursday?
23rd, that's the 4th?
It's a fourth Thursday
Okay,
of the month.
okay, yep. Just got 5 Thursdays, it's 12 at the end.
Okay.
Took our calendar there.
I have it on my desk and I forgot to bring it back.
It's just about half the week, got a meeting the 23rd, so we can make a decision the 20th.
Okay. Then we can publicize that a little bit more and state what the deadlines are.
This is my computer right
Okay, so you have in your packet, there was a letter from the city of Hillsborough about a rescue truck. And they had made the assumption that they owned it, but the county actually owns it. And so, I haven't seen a copy of that agreement that they refer to in the letter.
I don't, did you get a call on that, Jonah? I did too.
Yeah, they've done a lot of extensive work to the truck. It's not the same truck anymore anyway. I mean, it's got a new frame, it's got,
Well, and they replaced it with a different rescue truck.
so,
I mean, if that was actually an agreement that the county entered into, probably should transfer the title on it, especially since they've already spent money on it. I don't know that, evidently it was a vehicle that we weren't using at the time.
No, it was a Florence rescue truck to start with. Florence had it down there. Then Florence took the county truck that the county had. Then Hillsborough said, well, we'd like to have a truck over in Hillsborough, the rescue truck. So they took it and used it with the blue bed on it for a while and had used it for quite a while, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, 5
Well, they
years.
said it'd been sitting for,
And then they took blue bed, sent it to Jost Welding, and they put in a new truck underneath. Put that bed with some more modifications on a new truck. So then the truck sat around the Hillsborough warehouse for, I don't know, it's been sitting there without a bed on it. But now I see that they've done some work and things like that. I don't know about framework and things like that, but I know they've done some work to it. So I don't think it's any value to the county anyway. I personally don't see no reason why we couldn't do something.
I mean, I think we'd take an action by the commission to transfer the ownership to City of Hillsborough on that vehicle.
I'll make a motion to transfer the title.
I'll second it.
Can you make your motion more complete, please?
Make a motion to transfer the 1987 Ford that Hillsborough has been using as a rescue truck and now currently going to be a salt spreader to the city of Hillsborough.
Okay, motion's been made. I'll second.
Second.
Dave seconds that. Any other discussion? Not all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I will.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick question regarding a charge on purchasing card. This has come up a couple of times, and it would be nice to have some actual direction from the board on whether or not we pay for valet parking, or under what circumstances we would pay for valet parking.
Now, I know the question came up last year one time, and we did have some discussions with that department head, and the way I remember it, he said there was no other place to park, I guess. But,
Well, I called him because when I seen this, I called him, and it's paid for by the grant that he has, and I think it even says on the thing that the grant was paid. But it's paid for by the grant, and honestly, downtown St. Louis, I would wonder what kind of risk you would have by parking it on the street.
well,
especially
that
since
was
he
one of our
has-
questions, you know, parking
Yeah.
government vehicle on the street, whether that would,
Yeah, so I would wonder which battle we would want to fight would be this parking it safely with his drone and equipment inside that truck, or do we want to wait till damage is done on the streets of St. Louis? I wouldn't want to park any of my vehicles on the streets of St. Louis.
but then again, if we start paying for valet parking, is everyone gonna use valet parking?
Well, this is paid for by a grant though.
Yes.
That's a little different.
But this, when you travel, the bigger cities, there is no public parking. It costs you, if you park in a parking lot or at the hotel. And this is where you should, it might be cheaper to fly than it would be to drive. There was no reason to drive, there was no reason to take his truck to St. Louis.
Well, I guess for the equipment and stuff for the class, I know there was a work session or
Yeah.
something, but I don't know. I'm just-
Sometimes they have to.
Yeah, so,
It's just the way of the world, you know. Right now, this week, I'm spending $200 in Orlando for my salesmen to park their cars in the hotel because they don't have a choice. If they go to the convention center, it's another $15 a day.
So do
Parking's
you,
a-
do you
it's
think
office in there.
the policy should be that they should utilize the most appropriate parking method that is, you know, or the most reasonable that's available? I mean, how do you want that? Because we would like
I think we need to have reasonable in there
Yeah.
somewhere.
well, reasonable is one of my bad questions, you know, because we do have reasonable. What's reasonable to some is not reasonable to others. We just
Mhm.
battled that on the wind farm
Yeah.
thing. So, I don't like that word reasonable, but I guess we should.
Appropriate?
Because like at the Hyatt Hotel in Wichita, they got valet parking. But you also got public parking.
Right.
Outside.
I mean, 6 foot apart,
Right.
and it's a third the price.
That's why
I like
I'm
your
asking.
suggestion. I like your suggestion to allow it where, you know, how you stated that, we'll use the word reasonable in my opinion, but, that's okay, because I think this was reasonable for him to have that. And then, of course, like I say, with the grant paying it, it's not out of taxpayer dollars directly.
Well, it's somewhere out of taxpayer dollars, but not our.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right. I got that, the grants are all taxpayer, but they're not directly right here.
But just what Dave just said, Diane, I would prefer that, you know, just to make it easier to get to the room for valet, it gets closer. But if it's 6 foot apart, or
Yeah.
if you're in the same area.
It's some common sense.
Just a common sense deal, and I would expect them to use it.
Every market is different.
There's probably still a price though to pay,
What?
whether it's a little cheaper than valet parking.
Yeah, valet's $15 in Wichita, you can park in the parking garage for $5.
Fine, yeah.
If that's available.
Yeah, if it's
They're not
available,
always
yes,
available in
yes,
certain places.
correct.
And then to consider the safety factor. I mean, if I'm responsible for the county equipment, the truck and so on, I would be very cautious about parking.
They steal from valet too.
Well, I understand, but you're reducing.
Yeah, you're handing
I'm
your
sorry.
keys over to somebody to take that vehicle.
Yeah. Just going out back for a quick inspection.
And I'd have to agree with you, because it's.
So is there some way we can word that to where?
Well, do you want me to try to bring you back like
I
a,
didn't know what was gonna happen to my truck.
Yeah.
A little
Was it a nice
memo or
place?
something for
It's
you to
not.
approve?
Yeah.
Some places are not.
Yeah, that's my first wide
It's like
open
parking
street.
at the airport.
St.
Yes.
Louis, Missouri.
Right.
I don't like people driving.
I never been.
Okay,
Been through that.
shall we, have Tina try to put some language together that
Yeah.
we can look at that?
I would say if there's self-parking available, the valet should be allowed.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
mean, if
does
it's-
that mean that, I don't disagree, but I'm asking a question because if we're kind of the gatekeepers in our office and we're responsible for the internal controls of a lot of things and making sure policies are followed. So if you say that, do they have to provide proof that there is nothing else available?
If somebody raises concern about it, it's gonna be them having to defend themselves.
Okay.
So then, having said that, what Jonah just said, if there is valet parking available and the truck is broken into and damaged, are we gonna relieve that person for making that decision not to take advantage of a safer alternative? In a dangerous city like St. Louis?
Typically with valet is you have self-parking in the same area. It's just whether or not you want the convenience of walking back to the motel.
Right. Right. It may or may not be a safer area or a safer place to park. It's just that instead of parking it yourself in the covered parking, if that's available. You're giving someone else your keys and having them park it. And then they bring it back to you.
There is no good,
No, no.
good reason, it's just,
And some hotels maybe don't offer public parking, they only offer valet or go find a place on the street. And I know that there are some that do that,
they
so.
charge your room automatically.
And if we hand the keys over to a valet parking and they back into the center post, would we get denied on insurance claim?
I think they're responsible then if they wreck your car.
Good luck.
They have insurance for that, I would think.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Just scrutinizing this one a little bit. It is the Hilton, and the overall charges are less than $200 a day. That's maybe that's.
Yeah, I
where we
mean,
need to
maybe
go.
it's not worth the argument,
You know, I mean,
depending on where they're at. You know, the major cities, I can see where there's a problem. We go to a lot of places that aren't considered major cities like Wichita. But, you know, once you start getting into Kansas City and St. Louis and Phoenix and all those,
I don't think
it's a
valet
different
parking
world, I understand that.
are responsible for your cars.
Where'd you park at in Wichita on the commission meeting? Where'd you park at there?
Just this last time,
Yeah.
personally, I never do, well, first of all, I don't have a lot of value in my car or what's in the car, okay? So I'm a little different. But I don't go into garages because I just don't like to be claustrophobic. I don't like to go into those spaces. I parked right in the front of the hotel.
Yeah.
I walked right there. I was not across the street. I was right in the hotel.
Park across the street, but what I'm getting at is, I wonder if that hotel there had you charged for that parking area on your room, or, you know, what you just said.
No, that was.
But I mean, seldomly would we be taking a vehicle farther than St. Louis.
I know, I just went to Kansas City up with the Tampa Bank to the Federal Reserve on a tour, okay? And there at that hotel that we stayed was the Sheraton. And that was it was in a really, it was a beautiful hotel, but golly, the area was just frightening. And we did park in the garage, okay? But there was parking all around, if we really wanted to walk a bit,
Yeah.
you know, there. I
around
could
that
see-
convention center, the Sheraton with the convention center.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right
We
on
could have
Overland
walked
Park.
out and stuff if we wanted to, but we parked in the garage.
I know.
I wasn't driving, but,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, it was pretty stupid of me.
I don't know, maybe we just need some type of direction on wording to use. So
Well, I
that
think
it's
that,
clear.
do I understand the board to be saying that it will be paid if there is no, like if there's no other reasonable, safe parking,
Okay, that's a reasonable safe parking, yeah.
or, you know, something to that effect?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you walk, should pay for it.
Right, okay. I can try to draft something for you to review and then send that out. And that will help us in our office to know what is okay and what's not, and what we need to question and what we don't. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you. The only other thing I have is I do have I will need an executive session for personnel, and it is for medical leave. And I think there's some background that you probably should have on that. And if you want to do it at the end, we can do it at the end, just so we don't forget. But
What's the commission's wishes?
The end.
The end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I bring up one other thing while we're talking about this particular person, and I just want to bring this up. Just had the party for the employees and gave pins for longevity for different people. And Brent Franks has worked for 6 years and has never received a pin. And I'm wondering if that, how, and that kind of,
well, I just need to check. If occasionally we miss someone, so. Okay. Usually if that happens, they just contact us and we can check on it, so.
well, I asked, so he wasn't gonna say anything, but I asked, because I just thought, well, I didn't see the name on the list. But, okay.
He but he said he didn't get it?
No,
Like
he
if
said
it's
he has
6
never had
years, he
one.
would have had one
He's been here now
last
for
year.
6 years, he should have had one last year.
Okay.
And, but, because I asked him, I said, well, how long have you worked here? And he said 6 years. I said, well, I didn't see your name on the list, and I didn't hear anything last year, he says he has never got one, so.
Okay. Usually, I mean, we do that at the party. Sometimes if the people don't come, then they get overlooked on getting it afterwards, so I'll double check it.
I I think he was there. I think
He was
so.
there this year, I
This year,
know.
but that's 6 years.
I don't know about last year, whether he was there or not. But I'll be happy to check on that.
All you have, Tina?
Yeah, except for that executive session that we'll do later.
Okay. Okay, Bryce here, Road and Bridge.
Must be me.
Morning.
All right. Don't have a lot of stuff for you today. Other than most of this equipment. Here's a picture of the forklift that we purchased from Dodge City. I did not realize there was a 10% purple wave payment or whatever else, so we went a little bit over $8,000 and we bought it for $7,700, but it ended up being like 84 or 70 or whatever else it is. But we're gonna go out and pick it up this week. It's a really nice machine. Tom went out and looked at it, so we appreciate being able to buy that. We'll be able to use it pretty nice. As far as Purple Wave, all the stuff has been sold and quite a bit is picked up. It should bring in over $50,000 for the equipment that was sold for the county. Obviously, when all comes with it. I am looking at a belly dump from Riley County that's going to be let next week. See what that comes into. My thought was if we could pick up a used one and see how it's going to function and everything else. If it's worthwhile, then maybe we'll look at getting more down the road or whatever. So with the long haul we have, we thought it might be beneficial to look at that. So
I agree. What are you gonna pull it with, Bryce?
we have that other, is that an international that pulls our water tank?
The water tank truck?
Yeah. Just, and that's the other thing is obviously we've got that truck there that we can use. If we do get more of them, then we'll have to convert over those trucks. So, but I think with the long haul, some places I think it'd be really beneficial. The rock update, I talked with KDOT people about what's going on. I guess Harshman's right now, Sam Harshman dropped the ball and they are basically redoing a bunch of quality tests. So right now the only approved material they have for us is AB1, which we're working on. So they're in the process of getting all that stuff done, and so we're working with that.
How are you working with that?
Well, waiting to hear back on the rest of the qualities before we get out of the materials. So
Okay, so, because I did the same thing, and I have the same, they gave me the same website that you have, and I was going through that, with colleagues, and I was gonna ask you about that, because I know they don't qualify for a lot of stuff, and we've been buying a lot of rock from them
Yeah.
that does not meet the specs.
well, again, we're going by the basis that the stuff that they're selling us is the approved stuff.
And I seen that, and I also got copies of all the statements for the last 3 months that we bought all that rock from them. And it does say KDOT material on the top of the statement, which is not quite correct. But, I went back into a lot of my studies and stuff and called KDOT myself and things. I did talk to Sam myself. And it is a concern, so I'm gonna ask you to be a little bit more vigilant on that. Because I have gotten a lot of people who have told me that the rock is just disappearing. Which of course is my #1 concern, and that's where I lead you. And then when I look at the statements from the rock that was purchased over the last 3 months, the prices all over the board, from $9.45 to $9.85 to $10.71 to $12 to $15 to $20-some a ton. And so that right there is a flag. Something's not consistent right. And I realize there's different sizes, and I got all that. I took all that into consideration. But so I'm glad that you're on it, and I'm glad that you recognize that the rock has not been of the quality that we were expecting to get, and I'm hoping that we'll get that fixed.
Well, I mean, I can't say that it's not the quality. I mean, we're going by the fact is that they're
You
on
just
their
said it
state.
didn't approve, it's not safe that it didn't pass the test.
They are redoing some qualities right now.
I know,
Now,
the ones that they had didn't pass the test, is what you just said also,
Well,
which is true.
I don't know that. Again, we're basing that, whatever they're selling us is the approved rock. Now, when you go down there, to say you know what each pile is down there, I mean, every time we go in there, we want, you know, and Sam knows that. It's only state approved rock, and that's what we're supposed to be getting. Now, like with any other place you go? Can you verify that without taking a test at each load?
Actually, as I'm told from KDOT, they have certain piles that are marked KDOT. 'Cause
Right.
And so that would be the pile we would wanna pull up to.
Which, yeah.
If it's not marked KDOT, we wouldn't wanna pull up to that pile. And I noticed on these tests right here, the ledges, and it's very confusing, I mean, you really gotta study these. But we buy from two different leases, and one is usually the Stevens and the Robinson. But out of the Stevens and the Robinsons, there's multiple ledges. And a lot of those ledges, and the two main tests are the wear and the fall freeze. And that's where one will pass one and not the other, and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
KDOT will then say that's not approved.
I understand.
And so what we have to really determine, and that is gonna be up to you, I would
Mhm.
hope, that you would work very closely with Sam to make sure that we're buying from the right ledge.
Sure.
Because we have not been. I don't believe so with those prices.
Well, yeah, again, with the difference being where that rock is coming from and those ledges out there, they have to be vigilant enough to make sure they're getting in the right spots too. Because
I got that.
where they crush that material compared to where you pick it up can be quarter to half mile away. So, I mean, and here's the other thing is ultimately, they're working with the fact is that their people are putting in the right spots too.
Okay, so I'm going to, I would like to, I know Tina had told me a while back that back in March when we said that we would send a letter to the different quarries. Okay, I've never seen a copy of that letter, but I was told that it was down in your office, and you weren't
Okay.
working at the time.
Right.
But I'd like to have a copy of that letter. I'd like to see a copy of that
You don't have
letter
a copy
as to
of it
when
either?
out.
I don't know if I have a copy of it.
Okay.
No, because she said it went to your office, so.
Okay.
I'll
It
come
was
down
sent
and-
out by, I mean, I don't remember who was working at the time, but
Okay.
I
Well, we
worked with
check.
them to get it ready, and they sent it out from.
And obviously, you know, Sam realizes by not having this, the official qualities and everything else for this rock, it's hurting his business too, if that's what he's trying to sell, so. But I did look up the ham quarries up there in Woodbine, and yes, their rock is better, but they've only had one quality taken in 2019. So,
No, I don't think so. I had that myself, and they have several.
not in 2019,
I think they have several. In fact, I think I have.
there's 11, 9, 9, 12, 12.
We only
12.
buy it from one place up there, and that's out there, what's Crescent,
Crestwell,
Crestwell ledge. We buy from one
right.
ledge.
But
And so if they had a test in 2019, that's all we need, from one. Now, Harshney's got multiples.
well,
So they
but
need multiple
what I'm getting at
tests.
is, are we getting the material out of that ledge is what I'm getting at. I mean, we have the same problem up there based on if that's where it's coming from. I mean, we're taking the benefit of them saying that's where it's coming from.
Well,
So-
they don't have multiple ledges, so if theirs is passed, the test, then it would pass.
Right, but what I'm saying is
So-
they just moved back into this park because it's settled here, and they moved back to there after, what's been 7 years, whatever, so. But anyway, I
Well,
totally
yeah.
understand that that's what we're working with.
That's
and-
what we wanna
So-
get. And when I talked to KDOT and stuff, they said they have no problem with the ham, rock. When I spoke to, Mr. Shad, he said that they don't ever have a problem with that, so, like, with all the multiples. And then I know that Florence mixes a lot of some of the ledges.
Well,
from time
that's
to time.
what you
So-
said last time, I'm not aware of that.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's right on these tests that you just looked at. If you look at the test again, you'll see where it shows Fort Riley and the Towanda is all kinds of mix. And so,
Well,
but
yeah,
anyway,
and that,
it's-
yeah, that's just a matter of the testing and the documentation, so. But anyway, yeah, we're totally aware of it, and wait to hear back from them, so.
okay. So then also one other question I wanted to ask you on the shipping and stuff like that, since, I know one time you said that you were gonna do the northern half from Ham and the southern half from, Harshman because of the hauling. Have you been doing that?
For the most part, we haven't done an awful lot of work up north since that, a few times up there working on. Back to the last 2 weeks, we really haven't done much with the quarries being closed, a lot of truck drivers being off on vacation, so. But yeah, that's still the plan to do that.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, we're up there, replacing the culvert on 290th and Vista that was washed out last year. We're putting in a big culvert there as of right now, putting that back in there, so, we can use that rock that's close enough to go up there. Basically the same to go up north or south.
Okay.
So,
While you're on rock price, AB1, tell me if you exactly what, is that different sizes or is it all one size?
Well, it's gonna be a little bit different. It's not gonna be the standard gradation. It's gonna be more of a road rock per se. It's not gonna have as many fines as the AB3 as you go.
Right.
The bigger numbers has more fines in it. So it's gonna be more of, not necessarily a pit run, but it will have some of those fines taken out. So it's still good material. I mean, it's,
What kind of price are we looking at on it, right?
it was like 50 cents or something like that more than the other stuff. But I was gonna talk to Sam and said, hey, if that's all you're gonna give us, then why can't you give us a break? But the other thing is we're gonna try to haul some more of that Waverly rock. I've talked to Sam about continuing and or increasing, bringing that back in for material. We're actually putting some of that out East Shore right now too, and I've talked to the Expedition Wind about using that rock down there too, on the roads. So I think that, if we get that rock out there, that should help immensely.
So I would ask if, when you're gonna do the Waverly Rock, because I noticed one of the statements that we had from JL Unruh, when he picks up the same rock out at Waverly. Now Sam and him do a good job by hauling that in, and I think that, if I'm not mistaken, then you pick it up at Florence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we're paying 15, I think it's 15.39 a ton, okay, great. Okay, but when JL Unruh picks that up for us, he drives all the way 80 miles out to get it, and then we're paying $20-some for that same rock. Can we kind of eliminate that?
I did not realize they were trying to clear there to get it, because that's what we had to talk
Well,
about.
we have some bills that we paid in the last 3 from,
Okay.
and that's what it had said, it went out to Cobb County,
Okay.
which is the Waverly.
Right. But no, that was the reason why, because Harshman's hauling that rock back to here, and then they go down to Hutch or Wichita, whatever else, pick up sand and drive it back up there. So that's why we were getting the break on the haul, so we cut it back on. So,
Would it be best then if we're getting it for 15.39, just, is that what you said?
But yeah, when we go down there, when
If we're getting it for that, at that price, why would we just have to ask the other haulers if?
yeah, and like I said, I wasn't aware that they had done that. And that's a contract haul to where we call them up and they're most of them bring out their belly dumps and drop it that way, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's another
I was just
$5.
trying to say, here's the price we're paying for it.
Yeah.
So we'd like you to either
Yeah,
match it or.
we just need to follow up with
Yeah.
them to do that.
yeah, we're paid $21.75 when
Right.
JL Unruh does it, and here's the invoice on it.
It's about what I pay when I go out to his place and pick it up
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
So I think we should stop that perhaps.
Are we continuing to access some sand when we can?
Yes, that's another thing we've actually talked about, especially rework these areas, put some sand in with them. Sand is the same thing like anything else, we just have to go get it, but we can get it for like 4 1/4 a ton, so we can use that. But again, if we haul it clear back up to northeast, we're talking about a trucking to get it back up there too, so. I wish there was a quarry right in the middle that would have everything, that would satisfy everything, but.
As I keep hearing more and more, use more sand, use more sand.
Oh.
Well, sand has its benefits, but
Sure.
I mean, you look at some of the roads in the southwest part of the county right now that have all that moisture on there, and that soaked them up, and the sand didn't help much, but again, between the rain and the snow and the ice, we got hit pretty hard. But we're still battling away.
So have you talked to Burkamp or anything? Are they gonna ever get any of their rock tested, or they just chose not to? I mean, it's their choice, but
I made the comment, and nothing's ever been done, so.
like I say, that's their choice.
Yep.
So, okay.
Anything else, Brian?
No, that's it.
I got one thing.
Oh,
Thanks for going out there and checking out Chisholm. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was rapid response, in my opinion. It was good. And thank you for going out to East Shore. and
Yep.
Checking that out.
Yep.
The problem with Chisholm is I got 2 more complaints
Yep.
right after that.
Yep.
So,
And-
I just learned that there's 28 houses on that 5-mile stretch.
did you, now it was from 110th to 100th, correct?
Right.
Okay.
But talking about the stretch south of 120th, south of the church even, there's 28 houses on 5-mile there. So, I mean, there's a lot of people right
Sure.
there. So,
Well, like I said, for whatever happened, we end up with a low spot and or soft spot in the middle of that road, and what it is. But it's like anything else, we gotta get some crown back on the roads and get them so they drain.
One in the middle of that Chisholm is, it's just a low spot where when water kind of goes across, and they leak.
and then there's there's hardly any ditches right there.
Yeah.
And it's due to farming techniques, I'm sure, but,
But just everything needs that work out there.
Yeah.
Get it back in shape. Yeah, I talked to Jesse about getting some stuff down there, so. Get some working on.
You know, when we get moisture like this, you find out right away where those soft spots are. Do the maintainers call in for material for that?
They can, a lot of times we're out there too, getting those phone calls. The biggest thing is we gotta be careful if they're too wet and go out there and try to work them, then we can actually make more of a mess. So it's gotta be a happy medium, but yeah, we've told the blade men to call out whenever it's the idea that they don't make it over all those roads every day, they may or may not see those. We're working with them to say, hey, you know where your worst areas are, your promise areas, let's go back and check them more often than we do it normally, so.
I'm crossing over into this guy's area, but the people probably still use me because I've been with him for quite a while. But the mills is down there, they dumped rock, but they didn't drain the water out of the hole. Is there something we can do, Bryce? Do you either go take a look at it and from the bridge south?
They were supposed to, let's put it that way. I will take that up with them. I have not been back since
Okay.
they were down there, been back down there, so we'll, that's the tough.
They said we gotta go through the water to get to the rock now. And that just shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
We can sort of send a blade.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
You have a road and bridge question, Linda?
Yeah, I just, I guess I'm kind of concerned that it's been 10 months since we resolved the rock issue with Harshman's. And 10 months later, we're still talking about the rock at Harshman's. So hopefully we'll finally get this resolved. And, it doesn't ever sound like we have problems with the other quarries, but we have problems with Harshman's.
Well, to say that we've had no problem with Woodbine, the guys did get some bad loads from Woodbine last year. And I say bad loads, there was a bunch of clay and stuff in there. And they basically said at the time, that was before I got here, said, we're not gonna go with Woodbine anymore because of that. And of course, this is by what I was being told.
Mhm.
I talked to the quality control lady, and she said, I didn't know anything about it. So again, that's something that has to be
And
worked
did
out.
Woodbine then try to fix it?
Well,
problem?
she said she didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where, for whatever happened with the communication, I don't know.
But I guess, March
Yeah.
10th, we decided that it only had to be KDOT approved.
Right.
We're still talking about it from
Yeah.
Harshman's.
Well,
So-
and like I said, with Harshman's, the guys go down there and they pull out the same pile that they usually do when they get that material. So, we're going with the fact is that that's the state approved material. So that's just something I guess we need to follow up with more to.
And it doesn't sound like Waverly is a problem, the rock from.
Correct, Chris, because it is a higher quality rock, and that's why it costs so much to bring it in, because obviously the trucking did it here, so.
So-
But yeah, like I said, but we pay about half again as much for that rock to put it down, so,
But if it lasts longer.
Well, yeah, I mean, where's that happy meet,
Right.
And the thing is it would be nice, the best thing to do is we could find a way to rail car or whatever else in there, because we could, unit price would be considerably
Sure.
cheaper, but.
Sure.
Everybody has a truck, and hopefully during the winter time, if we can find some other trucks, maybe we can get other trucks on that too and keep them busy, since they're probably not hauling as much as they would during the summertime.
Well, and I guess it would be to Mr. Harshman's advantage to finally figure out where the KDOT stuff is and only be giving it to us.
Well, and honestly, that's what I brought up with Sam, and he said, I'm so sorry, he dropped the ball when it comes to the qualities and everything else, and dealing with these tests and stuff like that, it's.
But yet the taxpayers continue to pay this to try to get our roads fixed.
Sure.
And it's a very vicious circle.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I would love to say that we can start hauling that Waverly rock all over the place. But again, we've got to be careful where we drop the Waverly rock if we still have to do work on the roads as far as ditches and everything else, because then we waste the rock and then it's.
Sure.
It's not money. Yeah.
And I
So-
guess the only other thing I'm gonna say is, 10 months ago, this all came about and we started getting KDOT rock. It got lax, and now we're brought it back,
Yeah.
and now he's apologizing again, and we're starting, so
I'm just saying, this is kind of a cycle here that we
Sure.
need to get stopped.
Yeah.
So,
Understand?
that's all I'm gonna say.
So I would like to answer your one question you asked about. I do know you weren't here, but I was here, we were here. And Woodbine, when we did get that rock, which I seen the rock that had the dirt in it, which was not anything really tragic, but they did give us free loads to compensate. And in fact, there was, when we changed different size of rock, there was 1 or 2 times when they gave us 1 or 2, I think it was 2 on limestone, going north. They gave us like 2 free loads of rock just to try it and test it. I mean, they work with us, and if we do find, and they always say, if we're not happy with it, they will take care of it. And they have proven that by giving us multiple free loads of rock over the course of the last 10 months. So they do stand behind their product.
Bryce, what was our rock budget over last year?
I don't know what we ended up, but we had 750,000, I think we were estimating 1.6 million total. I don't know where we ended up for sure, but,
I don't think we even have those numbers quite yet.
Okay.
yeah.
We should have them in the next week or 2.
We, like you said, you can want that Waverly rock all you want, but if you put it on mud, it ain't gonna do no good. Yeah, you gotta have some base underneath it.
It's, the other plan I've got is, I'm looking to get a disc, so when we start reworking these roads, we can disc them up and work them a lot better. They're actually gonna perform a lot better when we get them too, but again, we're working this time of year where it's not the most beneficial to try to rebuild roads, but. So, all right?
Thanks, Brad.
Oh, yeah, you gotta take care of the problem.
Okay, is Isaac Cat here? Morning, Isaac.
Morning.
So I'm just here to kind of give you guys a little update on what's going on. I'll just start with the big one, heated dock. I'm meeting with Ben on Wednesday. He's coming out to the lake office, and we're gonna try to go over, I gotta get some paperwork from him, and we're gonna try to get really started on a timetable. I spoke to him briefly before Christmas. He had informed me that he had started on the framework, welding that together. His plan as of now is, last time I spoke with him, he's gonna get this framework put together. He's gonna bring it over to the lake. Once he brings that over to the lake, his plan is to then pull the existing dock out once he's over there. I'm gonna try to talk to him, kind of see as far as what he's thinking timetable wise. He said a lot of it's gonna depend on whether or not the lake freezes. He said if it doesn't freeze, he has no problem working in the cold. But obviously if the lake is frozen over, that might cause a little bit of issue as far as work on the lake. So hopefully on Wednesday I'll have a better idea kind of what we're looking at moving forward. I'll let you guys know. My plan is now there's the locker room with the lockers. I've gone through our list of everybody that owns lockers. I've given them a call. I put a big sign up down there, but what we're hoping for is that locker rent is a yearly rent, January to January. So with it being the new year, we've asked everybody to go in and take out their stuff. We want to pull those lockers and kind of clean them, repaint them, and then start completely fresh with new locks and everything. That place that I have, it's old. There's some people that, according to the list, hadn't paid rent since like 2012. Now I don't know if that's correct, but a lot of those numbers are outdated. So instead of keeping the same locks and everything and having the people keep their keys, I would like to just start everything new once those lockers are all done and go back into the new dock. The other thing that I have been asked about, I was approached by the Girl Scouts, and they were talking about the possibility of getting a dog park out at the lake. I had a real brief conversation with them, maybe 20 minutes, but I guess they've been working with the city of Marion for like the past 9 months, and they thought it was gonna work. Now they can't find the ground that they wanted to do it in the city of Marion. So she was looking to see if it would be possible to do it out at the lake. I told her there's a lot that goes into a dog park as far as liability and stuff that I didn't know the answers to. So I did a little bit of research, just some basic stuff. And It doesn't seem like it's a lot of work. They have the fencing and all that is gonna be supplied. They got Gary Carpenter out of Wichita, and he said he was willing to put up all the fencing, no cost to the Girl Scouts of Birchville Lake. They said that they were more than willing to supply like the dog poop bags and the scoopers, and they had multiple little play items to go in their potential park. I think she said that they had enough fencing for about 1.5 acres. And I told her before I said anything, I wanted to talk to you guys just to see if it was something possible.
Where would they put that at?
Well, we were looking, we went through a couple of places. You know, ideally, and like I told them after doing a little bit of research, you're gonna have to have some kind of water source, a hydrant. So that kind of knocks it down. Because ideally, what I was thinking is if it was something we could do it on like the southeast side of the lake where there's no homes, just to try to keep, if there were barking and stuff, it wouldn't be bad for any of the homeowners. You know, there's that place there by like the Wilderness Edition that used to be, I think, a baseball field at one point. We looked at that a little bit, and then all the other places we looked at were kind of over there by like the RC runway that they added in on that part of the lake. But like I told her, I said, that southeast side, I don't know what it would take to get water there. She said that they have spoke with Josh, and he said that he was willing to work with them to try to figure something out, maybe at a discounted price for the Girl Scouts, but they said that they're willing to do all of that. You know, looking into it, into the other parts, I think the closest one right now is in McPherson. It seemed like they have one fence, but somehow that liability, like, because that was my big question, the dogs. If a dog bites a person or bites another dog or whatever, that liability goes on the dog owner. But I don't know how that all works. And that's kind of what I told them. Now, if it was something that was potential, kind of my plan was to do maybe like a Facebook survey or a social media survey just to see if people would be interested in having one out there before we decided anything. But I just wanted to bring that up to you guys to see if it was something that would even be possible.
Maybe we need to just ask Mr. Brad for legal advice again.
Yeah, because when
Yeah.
when
Right.
somebody says they assume the right liability,
Yeah.
if it's on our property,
Yeah.
you're gonna get named in a lawsuit.
Right, and that was kind of my big concern was just liability. And I mean, as far as like the mowing goes and upkeep, it wouldn't add too much to us. You know, I don't think that would be a problem. But, you know, there's still a lot of questions that I have about the whole thing as well.
But after it's built, you pull in there with the mower and you're gonna
Yeah.
mow,
Yeah.
it's not fun to mow through.
Right. Well, and that's, you know, that's something that would add to our list, is just making sure, I
Get
guess.
specific, yeah.
Yeah.
It tends to make some bad weeds grow too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I
Plus, isn't that a lot of that kind of natural prairie grass?
It is, yes, it is.
It'd be gone.
Yes, it would be. And we do have, well, we work with Somerville there, who then bales that grass every year, and then we get a check back from him for that. So that would have to be discussed as well with him if it was something that we were to look at doing. Besides that, our yearly revenue for 2019, we actually went up about $9,000 from 2018. The majority of that was due to June, and I think a lot of that, our camping in June was unreal. And I think some of that's due to the flooding that we had this year. The Bluegrass Festival, we had a ton of people out there for that. So overall, that was good. I spoke to you guys about the Passport America here. I think that was back in like September. But we were approved, we're in the book. I got all the signage and everything for that for the lake. So that is now in effect. The book just printed out, and I have a couple of copies in my office, but we are active for that for 2020. So we'll see how all that turns out. I plan on keeping track of how many people come in through that program to see if it's something that's worth it or not. But it is free for us, so there's not much downside to it. That we are a go for that. And then my last big thing, I think I brought this up to a couple of you, but back in, well, it would have been early December, we did have somebody come over to our shop there on the west side of the dam, and they cut, we had our Ford and our case and our New Holland tractor out there, and they went in there and cut all the wires out and pulled all of our batteries out. It seems like going through everything that we lost those 3 batteries. I talked to insurance, he said that they could do something, it was a $500 deductible. And for us, the total price, we ended up pricing out 3 new batteries and rewiring those up. And it was about $375 is what we ended up spending to get that replaced. Since then, we did pulled some cameras out of the office that we had and put them up on the shop, and we got new motion sensing security lighting. We did just have the standard A15 bulb out there that, I mean, it lit up a little bit, but, so hopefully that'll help. But that did happen. Since then, we haven't had any other issues, but that happened back in December, but it's all replaced, and we ended up making a padlock system on those tractors, on the batteries. I don't know, if it'll help, but we're trying to do, trying to at least slow them
Any
down.
deterrent you can do.
Yeah, but that did happen back in December. I wanted to let you guys know of that. But besides that, that's the main things for me.
In the budget, a few years, two supervisors before you, we started the budget for a garage for your vehicles up there by the house, and then a shed for the tractors, because we got a new tractor sitting out there for, what, 5 years now, or 6?
Yeah.
And it's just sitting out in the sun. We all know what the sun does to it, and things like that.
Yeah.
And we all can see what I don't know, is that a Ford tractor, the weed eater, the one with the
Yes,
sickle boom on it?
yes.
You can see what some of the tractors that sat there for years, we've gotten rid of 1 or 2 already, you can just see what the sun does to them. So we sort of just decided, but we had an open face shed at that time, we didn't have a closed
Right.
shed. So I guess I'd like to ask this board where they'd like to go now with that, whether they feel there's a need to it or not. I personally feel that your equipment's only as good as you take care of it, so. Yeah, we just had this happen. I mean, we don't have it ran, very often, but.
Definitely an advantage when you can house your equipment.
I would think it would be.
What would you'd be looking at some type of metal building?
Yeah, just a metal building, probably, I think we had like a $20,000 figure, $15,000 to $20,000 figure for.
Might be something that you could
I can look into it.
look into it.
Yeah. Because I mean, we really have those 3 tractors, and then we got rid of the Gold Ford, what we're trying to,
Yeah.
through Purple Wave.
Yeah.
And then besides that, we just have the other work truck.
You got a trailer too, does it stay inside?
We have 2 trailers, they're outside, they are outside.
One's aluminum?
Yes, one's aluminum, the other one's wood, and we just have them padlocked. Every once in a while, we'll put them in the shop. Normally the work truck will pull that one into the shop.
Okay.
And it'll stay in the shop overnight. But as far as, the 3 tractors, the New Holland, the newer one,
Yeah.
it's not as bad because it has a cab in it. The other 2 don't. So especially like on a rainy day, I mean, that would be nice to be able to hop on there without having to worry about wet seat. But I mean, it is something that would be nice to have. As far as price goes, I haven't looked or anything, but I
You
can
could
do
be
that.
you could be looking at a shed that wouldn't require concrete floor in it, would you?
Right. Well, right, we don't have to have.
You're looking at a tube steel building too, which would drastically reduce the cost and something like that. Talking $10,000 instead of 25.
Yeah, if you want to look into that.
What would you say?
Like a tube frame, tube steel.
Is that like a round top?
It's more of just a lighter material. I mean, it's an enclosed carport would be the best way to.
Yeah, but will it handle the wind?
As long as it's enclosed. See, that's where the carport doesn't do so well, is when you don't enclose them. They turn into parasails.
Take off like a trampoline.
Yeah, then I would strongly suggest if we're seriously talking about him looking at pricing for buildings, to maybe look if we get a better pricing deal. If you talked with Bryce, our salt storage possibly. That, okay, if we go for more building, what better price can we get? Okay, so I would encourage them to.
The problem at his place, unless we move it away from where they're currently at.
Well, I'm not
is-
saying build them in the same place.
Okay, okay.
I'm saying, if we buy a couple packages, we get a better deal.
Yeah. Also with that same thought, you know, then we have these 50-foot long, 3-foot wide bases. I mean, they're sitting there, and maybe to put one of those tubular buildings on top, all 3 tractors would be pulled in without solvers. I mean, we could use it for just storage instead of tractor storage instead of just salt. Yeah, at that place was salt stuff. So, yeah, if we're gonna let Diane continue to drive on icy roads, we're gonna have to have, we're gonna have to have storage for some material, sand or salt, whichever way we can go in our budget. So, but we gotta have a building to keep it dry.
You might be able to get multiple bids on different sizes.
See what's available. I don't know what the road and bridge is gonna have to have, you know,
Right.
width-wise and stuff like that.
Right.
Okay, anything else, Isaac?
I think that's it for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Is Lisa out there?
Yes.
All right.
How come they don't come in and?
Hello, Lisa. How are you? Good.
Morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Happy New Year, everybody. I only have a couple of things, and then I do have something I would like to visit for a few minutes on. Ag use values, we received those. Everything but grassland is going down or staying the same this year. So values on ag land will probably, you'll see a decrease. Like I said, grassland is up. Final review, we're doing great in that process, working on 2020 values, no issues. The final review program that I visited with you guys last year about, the final review program is a system that we use. You basically go parcel to parcel, it gives all of our information for each property, and I mean, it values, all the options are right there. So just to fill you in on what that program is for, has been giving problems once again. This year, the only way we've made it work is having Lloyd put us completely out of the network system, or, you know, what our programs usually run on. So that's how we've handled it. It takes it out of the firewall for the courthouse. I can't see of any problems that it's caused. It does work by doing that. So that's been kind of the quick fix on that this year.
So what would a long-term fix on that be?
You know, he has worked with Tyler, he's worked with PVD, with the state. It honestly happened back when we were preparing for the one big election and they implemented more of the firewalls. That is when that program basically bit the dust. Like I said, it is a firewall issue. We just can't determine what was turned on to allow it to be turned off for us to continue in that program without taking it completely out of the networking for the county. So he does have another line that he lets us access.
Is there any security issues to that?
There has not been that I've been aware of. And that's what I told him. We keep getting, obviously, spam email like everybody else does. I brought it to his attention, brought it to the person that keeps sending it, so they know it's out there, but randomly we'll still get it. That's definitely an IT question, but to my knowledge, no. I wouldn't know who or why and how they would even get into that program, and honestly why they would want to. But just so you know, it is still that issue that's ongoing now for the second year.
So hackers, who and why would ever think?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think that's, yeah, you have to just kind of be prepared for all that.
There is a firewall protection, it's just not the same network. So like when I switch out the cable, I can't access anything in county, like no emails, no time clock, nothing like that. It's strictly on its own outline.
It's creating a remote server.
Yeah, So we just have to kinda switch them in and out and then.
We're kinda crazy.
It is, but it'll work. Don't mean to complain about it, just thought it is an issue that's still ongoing that I figured you guys might wanna know. The next thing, and I know you guys, I don't usually bring these up, but the last 2 years I have, or need to. We've had over 150 payment of protests again. Everybody has the right to appeal at informal. If they don't take that time as that, they do have a time when they pay their taxes. Basically, the only thing that we really have any control over is the valuation of a property and the classification of the property. Our hands are tied on just about anything else. Majority of them this year have been on roads, and crazy as this is gonna seem, the spending of the county and how much is being spent, of which obviously my department has nothing to do with either one. The road concerns I have given to Bryce, and he's been very diligent in working and trying to, I think, contact the taxpayers that have the issues. We'll still have to hold the hearings. I don't know what to say or do to the ones that, I mean, we had 44 from one person that I've reviewed, a handful of them. There's literally, I mean, what his value is, he's asking for the value to be 85,000 more than what it currently is. There's no, I mean, there's nothing to do with that, it's on ag land. I don't know what to say or to do for these people.
More, 85,000 more?
More is what he's wanting it. It's ag land valued at 15,000 and he's wanting it appraised at 100,000. Honestly,
So he can pay more taxes?
Pay more taxes.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And yet his chief complaint is the county's spending too much money. That's the only rhyme or reason I've been given on the form itself. Like I said, we don't even give those forms to you guys. The only thing you see that I submit to you is a change order. And that's just the results of a hearing. I don't want anyone to think that they cannot do the payment under protest, because if they didn't do the informal, they're more than welcome to. That is every taxpayer's right. But I don't know how we can stop this overflow from coming in the way it is. Honestly, we lowered our budget this last year. If these continue, we're gonna have to increase the budget, because it takes, for the one person, the one taxpayer, it took one of my staff all day long to do just the entering in the parcels and getting the files, did not even get the files completed. It's really impeding the office by doing that for something we have no control over. I know there was a article or a ad in the paper to file it under protest. I don't know why. It is nothing that I can personally do to help. I don't know if we need to, I don't know.
Does the
I mean,
public just does not understand? I mean, is there need?
last year I put an article in the paper and, you know, I really didn't have any negatives or positives about it, just basically said, the only thing our office is responsible for is listing, valuing, classifying the properties. And that is it. We don't do anything with the roads. I did last year, went out with a couple, or with a taxpayer, and rode around and gave him my opinion. But there again, I couldn't change the value because there was nothing worthy of changing the value.
So when you change a value though, then that in essence lowers or raises your
Or
tax.
lowers or raises.
Right, so the fact that you can change the value,
We can change
the
the value.
taxpayer could benefit if it's legitimate
If it
protest.
Absolutely, and that's the thing, I want people that have concerns that I can adjust, definitely come in and talk. That's not at all, we do have plenty of valid concerns, absolutely, positively. It's the ones that are saying the roads, or the ones, like I said, county spending. I have no control over that. I mean, I look at the value, yeah, we'll go through, we'll check everything, but it's on ag values.
Got it.
Those are set by the state.
And when they do a protest, and just correct me if I'm wrong, when they do a protest on ag land, then they ultimately go to the state for their hearing?
No,
They don't? You
No.
do that here?
we do everything here.
Okay.
We do everything here, and basically the only thing we can do is look at our soil surveys, make sure that everything is applied to the correct survey, or to the correct soil type, correct
production.
usage, production, everything's on the up and up, and that's it. That's
And do you ever
basically-
find mistakes in that sometime?
Absolutely.
Okay, well then,
Absolutely.
I guess I don't understand, because then the people would have the right to check that out.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm saying, everybody has that right.
Okay.
The reasons they're giving though are out of my, I mean, they're supposed to specify what they're protesting. And if they'd say, I think my ag land's too high. Absolutely. The reasons they're giving is county spending's too high.
Okay, so I guess, and I'm just looking at it from a farmer's point of view, so I
Yes.
guess to get around that, they're probably thinking that their ag land is too high because of county spending.
And it could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
And that's just what comes to my mind right away.
And that's why I say, I don't want anyone to think that they cannot file. That's the last thing I want. That's what we're here for. It's things that are out of our control are the ones that, I mean, it's just something I think you guys ought to be aware of, because we can't have any control over what is spent. We have.
And I kind of can see the point where the calls I've got is, my land's worth 15–20% less because it's on a road that you can't access.
And there again, it's gonna be based upon what the soil types are. That is, there's just, I mean, unless we can go in and influence, and there is not an influence allowed by the state of Kansas to take into consideration for roads that I'm aware of. I mean, we've had that talk with PDD many times, because last year it was an abundance of those requests or worries. And that's why I say, I don't want anyone to think that they cannot come in. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just going, you guys won't even be notified of what these concerns are unless I just tell you right here, right now, because I don't submit that kind of information to you.
Your protest, they can protest your appeal, your answer, they can appeal it to the state.
They can appeal it,
But
yes.
That's the next step.
That would be the next step, and then that would bring in, so with the ag use department. And she would basically look at it, and there again, if the numbers match and the soil types are implemented correctly, that's the end of it, pretty much. So just want you guys to be aware of the fact that there are
Over
things
100?
going on, over 150.
Over 150.
Yeah,
Sounds like a lot
Parcels or
of,
people?
parcels.
Parcels.
Yes, parcels. One person filed 44.
Yeah.
And there again, like I said, those concerns were more of the spending than, like I
So
said,
it's not 150 individuals, it's 150 parcels.
150 protests that have been filed to date. But we still haven't gotten escrows that aren't due until the end of this month. So I don't know what else could be coming in.
so there's more time for more to come in?
And then they have a second half too, provided they didn't protest the first half. They can only, each taxpayer can only protest on one part, or on that parcel once a year, informal or payment under protest. But then they do have 2 shots at payment under protest this first second half. So,
Well, sounds like a lot of unhappy people.
yeah, I mean, and like I said, if there's something that you want us to tell them, typically what we do is we look over their information. If they do have something that we can, adjust, like I said, either way, it can go up or down. We do, but I have visited with a couple of people, and on budgets, I've said about the only thing of recourse that I know of is go to your budget hearings. They publish them when they are, go visit at that time, because that's when mill levies are set. That's after budgets are set. And so,
Lisa, do you know, is this specifically a county problem, or is it statewide?
I know the road issues are all over. I do know that much. County spending, I haven't really heard a lot of. I haven't really heard of a lot of other counties having this many payment and protests. And like I said, it hasn't really been just value driven. I mean, it's not like anything has happened in the county that, my values are pretty stable, unless it's a sale that's just really out there. We do an analysis every year. This year, perhaps a 1% trend is all we're looking at. That's not a lot in the overall value, increase, decrease. And so, I mean, that's why I said we're very stable value-wise here. And so it's other factors coming in. And so that's what I just kind of feel you guys need to be aware of, because you will not see that information coming through. And that's, I think they're trying to make the point in our office to get to make it to you guys. And so, but you're not gonna be reviewing every single thing that comes through unless there's a change. So.
What is it, the people?
I think it's probably something you're gonna be dealing with for a number of years.
And I am sure of that. And like I said, I don't want anyone to think that they cannot talk to us. That's not the point of me telling you. I just feel that if I don't say something, you won't know, because you don't get that information. And so, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
Yes. Have a great day.
Well, we've had a cancellation on our 10:30 agenda item and our 11:15 agenda item. We do have a executive session, correct? Tina?
Yes, we do need to do that before you, if you decide to leave and go to the transfer station or something, I'd like to do that before.
Okay, we probably need to take care of that right now, so.
Got 11:45 there, Diane.
This executive session is ordered for discussion.
It's for personnel for medical leave.
Okay. How long do we need?
Probably 5 minutes.
Okay. I'll move then that we recession executive session in order to discuss item number 1, personnel matters of non-elected personnel pursuant to KSA-75-431-9B for a medical leave request, employee medical leave request with the commission and Tina until, let's say, 10:35, and we'll resume back into open session.
Okay.
Moved, seconded by Randy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, out of executive session, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the FMLA and shared leave for a county employee. Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I will.
Who was the second? Was that you, Randy?
Randy. Okay, Diane, you have an agenda item there?
Well, I do have an agenda item to appoint somebody for the planning and zoning to represent District 2. I can't believe Brad's not here again today. It's been 3 weeks now. So, and I was talking to Brad about the appointment. I do actually have 5 different candidates to choose from that are willing to serve. And as you know, we got the letter from Mr. Belton. I chose not to reappoint Mr. Belton. I am a term limits person, and he has served 2 successful terms, and I'm ready to move on. My problem that I have today, and I was ready to do this, but in my conversation with Brad, he simply made mention of 1 or 2 of my selections actually serve on other boards within their little tiny incorporated cities. And so he has brought up not a conflict of interest, but he is saying incompatibility.
Offices of incompatibility.
And so I'm kind of concerned about that. Now, I can go ahead and forego and go down to my next person or 2 who is going to serve, but I would like to have clarification from him. What is that all about? I mean, we have tremendous amounts of conflicts of interest throughout the county in different instances, and now we're talking incompatibility. So I'm not too sure that he didn't clarify that to me.
Okay.
It's where one governing body can directly influence another governing body, and the outcome of the lesser powerful body would be taken advantage of. And
I would understand that in so much as this is a board that is simply an advisory board. That it is not a board that actually makes decisions that would influence, and it's only one person of 11. And so I do question I question the scope of it.
So do you want to table until
Well-
we have a discussion next week?
There's actually a list of
There
incompatible offices.
There is, and then Attorney General's opinions that go with them, there,
And
you
is
know,
the planning and zoning one, do you know?
I don't know, I had to look into it for myself on the city council versus county commissioner. And it's a little gray area, it's better just to have just to,
Like
yeah.
the appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of appearance of inappropriate stuff, and I was gonna ask
Yeah.
some other stuff too. And so, I guess if that's the case, and I'll, you know, I also abide by the law, and if that is the law.
And it's, and when that is stated, the Office of Incompatibility, if it's found to be, then actually their acceptance of the new position is their resignation of the old position. So, that's the risk that person will take if they want to remain on both boards, is if they don't, if one office is incompatible with the other, the one that they swear to will be the one that they assume and resign from the other.
Okay, well, and he didn't go into detail, he just
Either
mentioned
one is
it.
a paid board. I mean, planning and zoning's not a paid board.
Right.
Right.
it doesn't always matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't always
It's-
matter. It's based on what the function of the board is.
Function of the board.
In many cases.
So do you wanna forego your appointment until
Well-
we have clarify that?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and do it because I guess I'm satisfied with what I'm hearing. If that's the case, Jonah is aware of it. If that's the case, I mean, why make a big issue of it? I have several people to choose from. I just eliminate two. So I'll move on then to my next one. So I will go ahead at this time and I will appoint Mr. Larry Cushenberry to the Board of Planning and Zoning to represent, District 2.
Okay, there's a motion been made to appoint Larry Cushenberry to the Planning and Zoning Board. Is there any other discussion?
That's just an appointment, basically.
Well, Brad hasn't given guidance on that yet, because remember he was talking about that, and he said that, he's not sure if you can just make the appointment, or if you make the recommendation and it has to be voted on by the board. He was still researching that.
I assumed it would have to be voted because that's the way it was before.
So you're
Right.
not, you're saying
So
that
if you-
we don't know if it's a formal action or just an
No.
appointment by the,
No, what I'm
Commissioner.
saying is, Jonah had asked if she can't just appoint him, but I think that what Brad's guidance was, is that he's not sure that that's legal. So he would need, at this point, I think the board, if you wanna do it today without him here, the board needs to do that as a motion and a vote to approve her nominee.
And I would make that motion.
okay. Motion's on the floor.
I have some questions about if you've been an employee of the county and released from the county, would that be a suitable choice?
I see no wrong with that. You know, sometimes people will be released from the county for various reasons.
I understand that.
And
I'm
so
not-
if
I'm not
somebody was
saying that. I'm
released
just
from
saying
the
that if
county,
you're
do
released from
you
the county-
eliminate their lives from going on and being productive to volunteer on boards?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, hope that someone wouldn't be coming back for revengeance or whatever the case may be.
No, I don't think so. Okay, so that
Do
was
we
your
need an
question.
application?
I didn't bring it with me because I was gonna talk to Brad as to which one. So an application is no big deal. I can get that and bring that in.
And somebody knows something about the gentleman, I don't know him.
Yeah.
So
It's, what he's getting to is the.
I see that right there, and that was something that we discussed, and I realized that it says it could be given to the commissioner or the county, I got that. But this was my appointment, so everybody, most everybody knows Mr. Cushenberry, I don't know who has a big issue with him. I mean, he knows the area, he's knowledgeable, he's willing to serve. And so that is one of my selections. So the motion is on the table. I'm asking for somebody to make a second, and I'll provide the documentation.
Well, would it be more appropriate to have that in front of us when we do go ahead and vote?
I mean, I would think it would be fair as process goes, that we're all entitled to that information.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna be expected to vote, that's why I prefer that somebody just make their appointment. That way we're not having to, all five get to know this person, or this is your pick.
Yeah.
This should just be your pick.
Right, that's what I say too. And I will also bring up one thing, just for a little history to everybody. Every single person that I've ever appointed was met with dissent. When I went and I appointed William Kropa on the board, which turns out to be an excellent choice. He's a wonderful addition to the board. Mr. Dawkey was very much opposed to that because of Jeff Pina. That was a big fiasco. And then when I appointed Lloyd Myers on the MCC board, again, opposition. Lloyd served well on that board, and now here we go again. So now when Mr. Dawkey makes his selections, or Mr. Becker, I approved them. I did disapprove of one, but for the most part, I approved the other ones without any question. But I don't seem to always get the same fair reaction. And it is a second district appointment. So I don't understand why there always has to be this big circus. From one person of 11.
Since we have this application, just be my opinion, I'd like to see the application. And then,
You don't know Mr. Cushenberry?
yeah, I know him, but I don't know
know
how
for
he
a fact
answers.
you know him very well.
I don't know how he answers the questions.
Well, I'll make sure, okay, so I can play the game, and I'll make sure you have that in front of you.
Well, I mean, we did have this application, so, I mean, I'd like to have the applications and then act on them. And that's just my own personal opinion.
All right,
It's up to the commission, however they want to do it.
I mean, I just,
Because I'm of the opinion, it's really, we gotta wait for Brad, because I really think you should be able to appoint your own people, and that should just be that.
I agree, I mean, we just all be adults. It's just, we have to play these games, and I get it every single year.
If it has to be voted on, I don't feel comfortable without an application. That's-
I just want to ask a question. So if the applicants have to be voted on by all five of you, then why wouldn't all of the applicants, if Diane has 5 applicants, then they all should be brought forward and you vote on one of them? If you're all going to be voting on them, but I thought originally, maybe I'm wrong, I thought I was at this meeting, and I thought originally you all were going to appoint your own, and the one at large was going to be voted by all 5
That's
of you.
what I thought I was
And that's
understanding.
what the minutes say, we
But-
have the minutes that say that,
That's the
yes.
way I understood it too, but
Yeah.
it sounds like
But
that,
now we're
that
voting.
that Brad says.
Brad's not, Brad
It was
had
the
mentioned that he
following
wasn't.
meeting where Brad said, well, we need to look into legalities.
Right, because the process, you know, if they just make the appointment, he said that there may be some points of law that prohibit that, to where they can make the nomination, and it's their appointment from their district, but it has to be approved by the full board. He wasn't sure.
Oh, okay.
And he wasn't ready to give direction one way or the other on it the last time.
Because that sounds very confusing, because if you're gonna vote on them, then every applicant from that district need to be looked at.
Well,
And
I
then-
think that the way that the commissioners had kind of hoped to do it is to utilize the application. Each commissioner could review their own applications, and then from their pool of applicants, they could select their nominee and then put that forward for ratification by the board.
And that's what I was doing.
And,
Right.
right, and utilizing the application was part of that, but,
And more, not so much voting, but ratification that this is the, and so you're bringing it forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's in an official setting
Sure.
and there's action. So I don't know at this point, without the county counselor answering it.
So we actually
which way
have a
we can do it.
resolution that spells that out. A resolution that was passed by the commission and publicized in the paper that that is the way it's done. That each district has their two picks.
Right, and he said that the resolution doesn't need to change, it's just he just needs to know for sure and to be able to give you all the best legal way of doing it, so that you don't,
And
you know,
maybe over these
accidentally
years,
do
we
something
can
that's
go illegal.
illegal by just saying this is the person.
That's, okay.
I think we need to wait on Brad for
So
verification.
we need a motion that wait. till
Well, there's a
the-
motion
No,
right
there's a
now
motion
on the floor,
on
I
the table
think.
already. So we need to act on that motion or not.
See why, if Diane wants to bring it back, we can't
Table it.
table it, I'd let it ride. I mean, if the motion's there, so we get some
Which,
clarification.
can you table a motion?
I think that you probably would let it
Yeah,
die
bring
for a
motion.
lack of a second, and then bring it
Bring it back?
a new.
Actually, I'd rather withdraw it than let it die for the lack of
I
second.
think that would,
I think that would be better if I just withdraw it.
and then we find out whether we can vote or what, and then you can make it.
Okay. We'll wait on Brad for,
Can I ask a question?
sure.
Is, you're talking about, if somebody's like on a water board or county board, can they serve as planning and zoning, or you would think so, I think not?
It really just
Opinion,
comes down to Attorney General's rulings. There's basically, everything that's ever been challenged at the state is on that list, and it's,
There's a list in your county commissioner desk book, which I think you all have a copy of. It lists the known incompatible offices in the back of there.
Because
So-
in this county, you're gonna run up against that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are
Yeah,
people
serve on
that
two boards.
serve on multiple boards, you know, and it may be considered a conflict, it may not, so.
And it depends on the issues that are brought up, and, you know, all that type of stuff, but, I don't know, that incompatibility, because as I looked that up and researched it, that just says you can't get along with other people, you can't get along with others, and, issues. And I find like, oh my
Well,
gosh, what are we doing
incompatible,
now?
an incompatible office
Well, he
is
said
one that
incompatible
doesn't.
Issues.
it's
is
like
what's on my
being
test.
the county clerk and on the commission at the same time. It would be.
Well,
Right.
that's different,
incompatible.
because, again, planning and zoning is an advisory board only. They're not making decisions, we make the decisions. So that's why I questioned his, and I tell you, I get other legal opinions too. My other lawyer said that there's no problem, but I know Brad would be the final decision, but it just blows my mind how we're
I think.
making these crazy
I
rules and
think
policies.
this one, I mean, I'm just going off what I think, I don't know for sure, but it probably doesn't have a conflict.
I didn't think so,
But
but that's all right, I'll withdraw my motion at this time and then rethink.
Well, I had one to bring too, but I've got a question about compatibility at this point also, so.
See, I think we're digging our own graves. I mean, really, it's.
in the county, I mean, not
Oh,
in the
it
city.
doesn't work for the county?
No, it's
Or
not
city?
not in the city limits. Doesn't reside.
Not in the city limits?
I was gonna say, you already have one the way the
Right,
rules.
no, it's not the city, it's not a city limits, but a person that serves on a certain board that, now I think about it, well, is there a
Oh.
compatibility issue? So, Sharon, did you have some input?
I did talk with Brad about that a little bit, and he said that if it's someone serving on a city board within the county, that would be a direct conflict of interest. But he said there are other boards that people may be serving on in addition to the planning and zoning board. And if it's some other board, say the rural water district board or something like that, if there were a particular case that the planning commission would be voting on, they would probably need to recuse themselves from
Right.
those select issues. But unless it's like a city board would be a direct conflict, so he would advise against that.
City commission, or are you talking about a city planning and zoning board or a city?
You wouldn't want planning and zoning
city.
from a city and planning and zoning in the county, otherwise you would have a czar.
Well, I mean,
Well,
that's,
There is,
Overlapping
well, there are a
responsibility.
couple of specifically stated conflict, like incompatible offices in the desk book, and I don't remember exactly how they're worded, but they do pertain to zoning, like zoning commissioner, or zoning, and it was primarily with mayors and, city councils, I just seem to
that's
remember,
what
but
it usually is.
I didn't spend a lot of time looking at it, cause since you have an attorney that's working on it, I didn't spend a lot of time.
Well, so it appears we need Brad's input at this point, so we better wait till next week, move that till next week. Agenda.
Could you add that, the offices of incompatibility? I know there's just a couple pages there that are basically
You want that in the packet?
the clear cut ones. Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
nice. I could look it up, I just.
Are you clear on that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that was our last agenda item, so we will open up to any citizen concerns.
Well, I need Brad's input on my question, so I'll have to wait till next week.
Okay.
Oh, I do.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to discuss?
I just have a question. Are you gonna recess and then go to the transfer station today, like you talked about, or is that not
That
happening?
work for the rest of the commission?
Well-
It's a little early.
I'd like to schedule it maybe next week, due to things that's happened here, and seeing it,
Oh,
So
you
not
know,
today.
maybe we need to just put it on the agenda next week and see if we can schedule it
Okay.
late.
okay. That suffice with the rest of the commission?
With that being said, I'd like to bring up to the commission to possibly look at the director's position of weed and stuff like that, and recycling, possibly moving that department to another.
Do you think we need to have a special meeting on that? Is that, I mean, that could take a little time.
Yeah.
Do you put it on a regular agenda item?
Yeah, it's needs to be looked at, what we think we can do. I mean, it's an issue that's happening statewide with our other weed departments in our state, moving to the road and bridge and stuff like that. I guess it's time now, we've got an interim director to decide on, see what's gonna happen, maybe a director coming up, so there's different ways to go about it, whether you put a lead person down there and you don't have a director, so, and then they report to the road and bridge department, so it just needs to be talked about. And I would forego going to look at it today.
So we wanna schedule something?
Yeah, I'd like to.
What's everybody's calendar look like this, rest of this week?
Busy Thursday, Friday.
You're busy Thursday and Friday?
Yeah.
You wanna,
Whatever we gotta do.
I'm pretty well booked up for this whole week. I'm going every direction this week, but you guys can go ahead and go. I don't have to be there.
How about
Are you talking about
next
touring the?
Next Monday afternoon,
No, I
yeah, we can
think-
do that, but just everything go Diane, the position and the department, where we
So
go
a
with
meeting,
it.
you're calling for a meeting basically.
Well, either that or we move it to Monday afternoon, maybe.
It's a late agenda item, I think is what Randy's getting at.
Yeah, but it's for next week. It's
we
too
could
late to
do
That's fine.
a afternoon session next week.
That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, yeah,
Would
that's
that-
fine with me.
Would that work, afternoon session?
It'll work for all of you guys. Why don't we schedule a special meeting for, would that be a special meeting or just a
It
continuing?
can be a continuation of the same meeting, but I can put it as a work session, to, for,
Okay.
because I think what you're talking about is developing what's known as Public Works Department, rather
Right.
than just road and bridge,
Right.
and then the others being
Yes.
separate.
Yeah.
Is
That's,
that,
that's what most of them call it after this, yes.
Is that satisfactory for everyone?
And I don't know who I'll bring some people, get some people's opinions of what they've done in other counties, that would be probably a good thing to do.
You bring other county people into it. You'll bring some other county people in to explain what
Yeah,
they've done.
either that or hear something from them to see just exactly how the response works and things like that. So you still got some stuff they've got to be responsible for. The lead person would have to be the certain things too. It's still, it's just cutting out a supervisory position is what it is. I mean, in some way, department head. But we've got three things here: transfer station, recycling, and weed department.
And HHW.
And HHW too, that's all, which falls under, to me, under the trash or transfer stations.
Right, and then you have different locations.
Yeah.
Any other citizens?
And I guess what I heard this morning from Road and Bridge and what we've been talking about the Rock and Harshman, 10 months of maybe we got KDOT, even though they were told 10 months ago that it was only to be KDOT. And then I hear that Mr. Harshman says, I'm sorry. I wonder how the commissioners feel. Shouldn't there be some recourse? Should there not be something that if I got one of those loads of rock on my road that was not KDOT approved and it's now gone, and I call in and say, I need more rock, and they say, oh, we've just put rock on your road. Where are we as taxpayers and landowners, what recourse do we have that, I guess, an I'm sorry doesn't quite get it? It's been 10 months to get it right, and they didn't. So.
And we all sat here and heard Mr. Harshman directly say it would be.
Exactly, Mr. Dahlke, exactly.
I think there's certain ways to go about this. I mean, it's unfeasible to test every load, but you could do like a 5-gallon bucket, like all the foundation people do. They bring out little test pieces and they leave them sit, and then once in a while there'll be a tester comes around and validates and checks them in a swoop. So it's a one test thing, but it's multiple tests. That would cause more insurance to them to know that these will be randomly tested. It just
But I guess.
We would do the random testing ourselves through a laboratory.
Or once a year, if KDOT allows a once a year thing, then they could just randomly test some of these buckets.
But I guess the thing that it bothers me is that's their job. That's what they were supposed to be doing. They knew 10 months ago. And I'm sorry, how many thousands and thousands of dollars have been wasted with an I'm sorry? I think you commissioners really need to think about, there should be some compensation for this, and talking to them about some compensation instead of I'm sorry, I'm gonna do better. 10 months ago, that's exactly what they told us when we had that. And now 10 months later, again, another I'm sorry.
And by doing what, and I appreciate what you said, Joan, I really do, and it would be a
Yes.
check about. However, having said that, whoever's gonna do that with the bucket here and there, another 3 or 4 months or 5 months, whatever's gonna pass, of maybe getting the same unquality rock, till we just take a bucket and test it, and whoops, it's not quality again. I agree with Linda that we need to make the people that we're buying the rock from accountable. We're buying their product, they need to sell us what we're requesting and what they're saying they're selling us, because it says on the top of every invoice, KDOT material, which turns out to be not correct. So I think the accountability needs to come from them, since we made our
That's their
desire.
job.
We made our desire, what we wanna buy, clear, and I did talk to KDOT, and KDOT told me the way they do that is there are piles that are marked with a KDOT sign. And so that's the pile that you go to. If it's not marked with KDOT sign, it's not KDOT approved. So to me, that's already telling our people where we should be getting the rock from. And if there's no pile with a KDOT sign, they shouldn't be picking up rock.
And I guess it concerns me that we're having to do it instead of them stepping up and say, we guarantee you, we will never sell you not KDOT material.
Do we know that it's not KDOT material?
Right, and that's where I was going at,
They-
with the buckets, we'd have to
They just said
have.
they didn't get it tested. They did not ever say it wasn't the right quality.
Not quite. He had here with him the KDOT test, just like I had. And he's had those tests now for a while.
Did it pass?
Pardon me?
Did it pass?
No, no,
Okay.
no. The
So
ones that
nobody's-
he had were not passing.
See, I had never heard that this morning.
Well, yeah, he said that, and that's why they're in the process of redoing different ledges.
Because that sign can be moved around. I mean, it's just stuck in the ground.
And 10 months ago, Mr. Crowfoot, that's exactly where we were at with this whole conversation.
I've seen the sign down there, you know.
But where does the ethics and
Well, no,
come from? A
Horseman
person you're gonna do
is in the
business
wrong.
with? Do you want to do
Right.
business with somebody that
Right.
you can't count on? Somebody that doesn't make sure that we're selling our customer what they ask for? I mean, it comes a little bit beyond just, well, it's not tested, because we're not all rock
No.
material
Or do
professionals.
we want to be?
Yeah, exactly, it's a very important subject, but, yeah, so I really think that we need to hold each quarry, not just, I'm not talking just Harshman, I'm talking all the quarries, we specify this is what we want, and when they don't sell us a project, I agree with her, I didn't think about that, but, yeah, you're not selling us what we asked for, actually, we've been
We've
misled.
been paying for it.
Yeah, we've been paying for it. So
Right,
that's-
we're paying for it, they're telling us on the invoice that's what we're
Right.
getting, but bingo, we're not.
do we need to require quarterly testing?
Well, the state will only do it so often.
But-
Um,
The Horseman can pay for it though.
Well, they don't pay for it,
I mean,
the state does it
but they
free.
could-
We'd end up paying for it. I mean, it's
Well, yeah.
it'll trickle down.
But do we need to put every quarry that we do business with on notice with some type
We
of
did.
legal notice?
We did that.
Well, we're supposed to have done that.
Yeah, we're supposed, I asked for the letter that went out, and I'm gonna ask, and I wanna see the list where it was sent to, but we're supposed to have already done that 10 months ago.
And I know that our rock hauler, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, and last summer, we had a guy come and put some rock down, and I went out and talked to him. And I said, okay, so is this KDOT approved? He goes, well, sure it is. He said it came from Harshman's, so of course it did. He doesn't know, the hauler doesn't know, so unless you have something that, these guys, they're just hauling rock, you know,
That's all.
so.
And then the same confusion happens within their yard, I'm sure, because they just got laborers. So, I mean, you could have a guy pick up from the
Right.
non-KDOT vein, run it a half a mile, and dump it on the KDOT pile.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a bunch of
The guy that's running the
loopholes.
crusher even.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into checks and balances, and the only way, in my opinion, the only way you're going to prove that you got not KDOT rock is by taking random sampling. And then one of those comes up hot,
And then what do you do?
then you've got something to go back on. Otherwise, you're just saying, we got shafted, we didn't get
Well,
the rock we
if
paid
you
for.
did
Well,
that,
yeah.
you could refer back to the correspondence they had received
Mm-hmm.
on X date stating that's what they would be selling us.
Make a
Then there
bill-
would
make
be
a
some,
bill order.
then there would be some recourse for some free rock or whatever,
Well,
replacement.
and I also believe that if Mr. Harshman wants to sell us, the county, rock, he needs to tighten up his side of it. So that, why are we tightening up our side? We're the ones that are purchasing it. He's the one that's selling it. He needs to tighten up his to assure us that if we're gonna buy rock from him, it needs to be KDOT approved. So that we start having belief back in the system. I mean, we've lost our belief right now that he's going, I mean, look at what we're trying to do. We're trying to do testing, random testing. We've lost our ability to believe that he's going to sell it, and that's too bad.
Plus, we've got additional costs in hiring somebody to do our testing for us too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess the commissioners, I just feel like I would like to see the commissioners come together, decide how to move forward, but I think there should be some kind of compensation for 10 months of,
Do we know whether it's just been the 3 that you checked on, Diane, or do you know more?
The 3 what?
Months that you, then you have?
Well, I just requested the,
3
from
months.
the county, the last 3 months of what we purchased from who and how much.
Mhm.
And, so that's the dollar figures that I have. And from Harsherman, we have spent 40, 50, 60,000 a month in this rock. And for those last 3, I'm assuming with all the rain and everything, the other months are the same. And then, of course, I did not just go by the KDOT test. I did call KDOT, spoke to the gentleman again. I also talked to Sam. And, you know, there is a failure here. You know, so, yeah. And I agree. I agree that the burden has to be on the back of Mr. Harsherman.
right.
It has to be on the back of the same way with Ham. If we were buying
Right.
bad rock from them, I'd be sitting here screaming at them as well. You know, in the same way, I'd like to see Burkamp do it, but they refuse to get testing, so that's their choice. But, you know, these are the standards that we set out. I don't think we should be just taking it laying down.
Mr. Chairman.
But how do you handle other materials too? You know, we've been talking about crushed concrete, well, that meets no standard other
Well,
than.
I'm talking about the rock.
Just
I
rock.
realize the other, the other stuff, the other materials are kind of a different subject matter, in my opinion. I mean, I'm just talking about the rock that I know the taxpayers are paying for right now, and using.
So I guess that's another question of Brad, whether we need some legal correspondence. I mean, how do you determine, you need to give us X number of loads of free rock? I mean, how?
Well, I don't know how you do that. I'm just simply saying the demand needs to be that we will not accept this any longer. Next time we have any qualm or anything with you selling us inferior rock, we're not gonna do business with you anymore. And I'm sorry to say that, but, you know, it's either that or we just keep chugging along as we are.
Because I thought that 10 months ago, that's kind of what we came to the conclusion of.
What
I
we
mean,
did.
Yeah, and for it to be coming back again, that shouldn't have happened. I mean, I know all of you have some business, you wouldn't let it happen twice. And so it's a chronic problem here.
Pete,
And I'm not gonna make an excuse for Harsherman. I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
problem though is not having any real evidence. That, you know what I mean? It's so, you got a prominent family in the area, and some people don't like to see other people succeed, so it comes off that way a little bit. You'd have to prove that you weren't getting what you thought you were buying.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would be discriminating against them.
Yeah, because the billing says KDOT approved.
But Sam himself admitted that he made a mistake. Sam himself admitted that. Well, I don't know what kind of proof you're looking for, and then the KDOT tests speak for themselves. How much proof do you need? I guess I don't know where you're going.
Well, I don't know, did he say he made a mistake, so
Well, that's-
we're gonna give the county a bunch of free rock?
He didn't
9 months ago
offer
or
anything,
2 months
no.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
he said
that's-
that's why they're retesting, because there was, and probably because I called him last week about it. I don't know, but, I mean, I heard enough that I'm convinced that there's, and not only that, I'm getting phone calls again from my constituents saying the rock isn't lasting again. Just like I had a long time ago. There was a period of time where that kind of ceased, didn't have those phone calls, and now I'm getting them again.
The only thing is on some of these roads that aren't draining, I'm not sure that the KDOT rock would last either.
Right, and the water just allows the base to saturate and it pushes down.
You know, until we get proper drainage and crowns on roads.
And of course, that's where the stall freeze test comes in, as to how much more that rock will absorb before it turns to mush.
And the other thing is you look at different rock as far as river rock versus limestone. Just because the limestone is rated at KDOT, it's still limestone.
I know that, but
So-
there's different grades of it. There's different qualities of it.
So I guess, Mr. Felke, when you said that the Coffee County was gonna cost more, you know, to bring that in, you know, that Harsherman's and stuff, well, but we already know the hardness and it's a better quality, so
It's
until we
limestone.
get some crown, that's probably what we're gonna need to be buying. I mean, unless Mr. Goble can get busy a little quicker on some of these grounds, on these roads and ditches, it appears like that's what we need to be buying.
Well, this AB1, that's why I asked what it was, is that's state rock. That's the only thing they have, and that's what the state gives right now. Why are we not getting it?
Right.
That was my question to
Right.
me, I think needs to be answered. If that's the only thing that's state qualified, why are we not getting it?
Honestly, that's probably the direction we should be looking anyway, because if you're talking about putting sands in as some fines, you want less fines so that you can substitute it with your own fines.
You want less fines, did you say?
Less fines, because he's talking about adding sand to certain pieces, so the sands would qualify as your fines. They wouldn't quite create the bonding agent that you would want from some of your other clay material, but it does, a thin layer of sand soaks up water, but it evaporates with water really fast. Too much sand will give you too much water retainage.
Well, and I also learned a long time ago when I was doing some of this stuff about adding sand to roads, and like you just said, a thin
Yeah.
coat of sand is okay, but once you get too much, and of course with our road graders or our dump trucks, I don't know who knows how much to dump, but I also understand that sand, like you said, has absolutely no bonding at all, so then you get an Oreo cookie effect where you rock and all that stuff. You never build a good firm base if you continue putting sand down. So you really want to use sand on our rock roads sparingly.
Right. And it does have some value as far as evaporating moisture. Billy
Dust.
has been sitting here
I don't know if
patiently.
any of you ever been out to that rock quarries to see them load. I'm gonna have to, Mr. Bryce, I'll have to stand behind him on something. I've been out there. That big loader will go get that rock. You don't know where in the hell they're getting it, because you can't see. They run up there and dump your truck, there's a truck behind it, they'll tell you, get the hell out of here. On 360th Street is a good example of that. I don't know how many thousands of dollars was put on that road last year. Beautiful rock. Granted, we have cow camper up and down there. You go down that road right now and you can tell the difference in the rock. You might have 75, 100, 150 foot, still beautiful rock. The next 3, 4, 500 foot of rock is gone. Then it comes back to your rock. It doesn't have nothing to do with drainage there, because now the holes, yeah, they're gone. Some of that rock that's gone is on one side of the hill, on the other side of the hill is beautiful rock. So, don't blame him for something that the quarry is responsible for. Now, the management is sitting on their butt, and if they don't have a quality control man down in that yard, seeing where that's coming from. That's where the problem is. I ran into that big time at Woodbine and at Marion, both. I guess the answer is, go see where the rock's coming from. They still not guarantee you're getting what's in that pile. But when that maintainer comes around, I mean, that big high loader comes around, you don't know where he picked that up. Don't do it.
There's two ledges you talked about down in Florence too, I think.
Oh,
Was
there's
it
a lot
you
of
or was it?
There's 2 leases that I'm talking about.
Yeah, lease, the
Stevens
Robinson.
lease and the Robinson, that's a
Right.
lease. Now, on each lease, there's multiple ledges.
What I was wondering if the shaker's set up in the middle and they're bringing from both.
And that's what Harshman does a lot, blends.
Yeah, well,
That's what
I'm
KDOT told
wondering,
me, yes.
to get the effect that he's talking about. if
We got
we're-
some Morse rock from Robinson. And if I would've seen that before they dumped it, I tried to, of course, I never got no answer back from them. It was half mud. But they still went ahead and put it down. It lasted about 2 weeks. It's gone. Now, granted, that don't sound like much to you guys, but $600, $700 is a lot to a little town that has absolutely no income. So, and it was supposed to be Morse rock.
The water was still with it.
The mud was too.
Yeah,
It looked good when it was dry, but that was about it.
So is the tonnage.
Huh?
And so is the tonnage.
Yeah. Well, you said that as a joke.
No, I know,
They wet that down.
Yeah,
They have to keep it wet. And you're paying for that.
that's right.
So I don't know, do we need to have a conversation with the quarries again?
Something got lost in communication, I mean, obviously, right? So,
Well, I think we need to be firm that they need to be responsible for what they're selling us. Like Al said, and just like Lynn said, that's who we need to hold responsible, not Bryce. I'll give Bryce a free breath on that, cause
No,
the way
yeah.
it's designed, I mean, yeah.
When he sends his guys down there and they stamp it, KDOT approved, what's Bryce gonna do, you know? But like him, you know, like this gentleman here,
Bill.
if there is roads that we have put rock down and they haven't, I mean, that's evidence that that rock wasn't KDOT approved. So, but yeah, I guess until they get their act together, we can't be buying rock. And I truly believe in buying in Marion County. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. And I understand that they're a wealthy family and I appreciate that the wealth, they pay taxes just like we do. But at the same time, the quality's gotta be there. That's what we're, as agriculturalists, that's where most of our taxpayer goes, is for that road. So,
So what's your thoughts? Is this a correspondent item, or do we ask the quarries to come in and address us, or?
I think a correspondence would do it if the correspondence is written appropriately, that we just insist.
I mean, that would be something that we need to have Brad put together for us.
Put it on his list of things to do, I guess.
So I guess we will try to direct him to correspond with probably both quarries.
Well, and actually even if you do JL Underwood on it as well. Now, I guess he's just a trucker somehow, but we buy a lot from him as well.
Yeah, but
And I don't know where he's getting it from.
does he get it down for us?
Before it gets tested
Yeah,
again.
but he has to somehow know what he should be picking up and not.
Well, anybody that has done any kind of contract hauling for the county, I guess would be noticed also.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Robinson Halls, and JL Unruh, and maybe there's a few others, I don't know.
Up to the truck driver to make sure he sees the sign at the pile.
Well, and they don't go up to the pile. The
Yeah,
loader,
like you
the
said,
loader
they-
brings it.
Well, no, you go to the pile and he loads out of the pile. I mean, you go to that general direction.
They did on me.
I've always been a quarry.
I stopped down there and they brought that big high loader around because it made me madder. Hell, they was only supposed to put 3 ton in that little truck. They put 7 in it.
That's what
They
they're
took me
looking
time to dump it out, told me to get out of there.
Well, and what Sam told me was, Sam Harshman told me was, when he thought he addressed it was, he told his people, when you see a Marion County truck come,
Yeah.
you don't give them anything but KDOT material.
Yeah.
So whoever's driving this thing and going and getting the rock, obviously needs to be re-informed. When you see a Marion County truck there, you just don't go to this pile over here. Or when you know that and JL Unruh, or whoever it is, the trucker, can say this is for Marion County, and then that person who's gonna load him should know.
Yeah.
And that's on the Harshamans to make sure that that loader knows.
Well, wherever
So-
they got that last 2 loads of rock, it's right there alongside my house. That's where you better get your rock, because that was put on middle of last summer.
I think that was Ham's.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna say there's probably, well, what the maintainer has moved down to fill holes. I'm gonna say there's probably still 35–40% of that rock right there by my house, still there.
And that's right after we started
it's
doing
good.
that division from the north to
Yeah.
the south, yes.
Would you say, Bill, that's a fair test right there on the corner where the trucks are supposedly slowing down, so the intersection?
I'm glad you said supposedly.
I said
Yes,
supposedly.
yes.
But I'm saying right there, most people do
Supposedly
slow.
slowing down.
Most people do slow down, but you're saying it don't get to where the 55 miles an hour, 60 through there.
That corner right there, if you put up, well, my camera catches them, it gets more truck traffic than probably any road out in that area. But that rock right there has withstood it. And you get a couple of them trucks flying through there that's maybe about 40,000 pounds overweight and turn that corner, yeah. I go out there and I move back on the road after I get a pile along my yard.
About 6 inches deep, yeah.
But no, that is, I could not believe that rock.
And I think what I heard from Diane was that Hands, when we did say that it was bad rock, they gave us
Some, yeah.
compensated.
They did.
So has Harshman's ever done that?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that it was insecure rock, it had mud balls in that Jesse thought was a bit much.
Right.
But
But
yeah,
I guess
they
I'm
did.
just
They gave us
saying, yeah.
several free loads.
So.
And then when we tried other sizes, well, before we bought it, they gave us a free load to try it, see if that's what we wanted, so, but yeah.
So it sounds like Harshman's wants to do business with us, but they gotta get their act together.
How about, Diane, you spoke to him,
Yes.
why don't you just, are we still available to make a motion? This, or is it, yeah, we're still in order, okay? Why don't you just make a motion that, since you spoke to him, ask him if it's been 2 or 3 months of, he feels we've been depreciated or shortchanged of some, what are we willing to do for compensation?
Well, I'd be happy to do that,
And I'd say,
and
Why don't you make the motion?
well, I'm just, she was the one to talk to Sam.
yeah,
She knows, I didn't talk to Sam, and so, I'm just saying that might be the proper way to ask. It starts with verbal, or not with that, it starts with written letter, and see where we're at.
okay. I'll do that.
So are we making a motion?
I'm just waiting.
Okay, I'll make a motion then that I'll go down and talk to Sam and see what kind of compensation we can get.
No.
Or what
no.
is it then?
I think start the written, so we can give it to Brad and get some sort of, some sort of written form here. Not just you go talk, I'm
Oh, okay,
saying.
well, I guess
Get
I
them,
misunderstood what you were saying.
get a response from them.
Get a response from Sam. So, yes.
By the letter from Brad.
Yeah.
Okay, so my motion is to give Brad authorization to make a letter.
Okay, everybody understand that
for all
motion?
quarries.
Second.
Seconded by Randy, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Bravo. Okay, any other public comment?
Well, you got a pickup you wanna give away.
Already did it this morning.
Okay, if that's it, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.